Everything was planned, until my wife canceled our trip for her ex. But what she didn't know, I still went, and I never came back. I had planned everything down to the smallest detail, the flights, the hotel with the ocean view, even a surprise dinner reservation she always dreamed about. This trip wasn't just a vacation, it was my last attempt to fix what was slowly breaking between us. For weeks, I had watched the distance grow, the silence stretch longer, and the warmth fade from her eyes. But I believed this trip could bring us back. That morning, I stood there smiling, holding the tickets in my hand, hoping she would feel the same excitement. Instead, she stood frozen, staring at her phone. Her expression changed in seconds. The smile disappeared. The air shifted. And in that moment, before she even said a word, I felt it. Something was about to end. She looked at me, hesitant, almost guilty. "I can't go," she said softly. At first, I thought she was joking. I even laughed, but she didn't. Then she told me the reason. Her ex had reached out. He needed her. Needed her. Those words echoed in my mind like a cruel joke. I felt my chest tighten, my thoughts freeze. I wanted to ask her, what about me? What about us? But the words never came out. Instead, I just stood there, realizing that the person I was ready to fight for wasn't choosing me anymore. She tried to explain, tried to justify it, but none of it mattered. Because in that single moment, I understood something painful. When someone truly loves you, they don't leave you behind for someone from their past. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I didn't beg her to stay. That's what she expected. Instead, I just nodded quietly, pretending I understood. But inside, something shattered beyond repair. That night, she was busy texting him, smiling at her screen in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. I watched silently, feeling like a stranger in my own relationship. That's when I made my decision. Not out of anger, but clarity. I walked into the bedroom, pulled out my suitcase, and started packing. Each item I placed inside felt like I was packing away a piece of the life I thought we had. She didn't even notice. And that hurt more than anything else. Because it proved one thing, I was already alone. The next morning, I left for the airport without telling her. The silence in the car was heavy, but my mind was strangely calm. When I reached the terminal, I looked around at couples laughing, families hugging, people excited for their journeys. And there I was, standing alone, holding 2 tickets meant for a future that no longer existed. I sat down near the gate, staring at the empty seat beside me. It should have been hers, but it wasn't. And for the first time, instead of feeling pain, I felt something unexpected. Freedom. No more waiting. No more questioning my worth. As the boarding call was announced, I stood up, took a deep breath, and stepped forward, not just onto a plane, but into a life where I finally chose myself. The destination we had dreamed about together became my escape. The ocean was just as beautiful as we imagined, the sunsets just as magical. But everything felt different, because I was seeing it alone. At first, the silence was loud. Every place reminded me of what should have been. But slowly, something changed. I started to enjoy my own company. I walked along the beach without checking my phone. I sat at dinner tables without waiting for someone to arrive. I realized how much of myself I had lost trying to hold on to someone who wasn't holding on to me. This trip wasn't about fixing a relationship anymore. It was about rediscovering myself and understanding that sometimes being alone is better than feeling alone with someone. That's when the call started. Her name flashed on my screen over and over again. At first, I just stared at it, my heart reacting before my mind could. But I didn't answer. Then came the messages, short at first, then longer, more desperate. "Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Please talk to me." I read every word, but I stayed silent. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally cared about myself more. For so long, I had been the one chasing, the one trying, the one holding everything together. But now I was done. I put my phone down, looked out at the endless ocean, and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. That's when the call started. Her name flashed on my screen over and over again. At first, I just stared at it, my heart reacting before my mind could. But I didn't answer. Then came the messages, short at first, then longer, more desperate. "Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Please talk to me." I read every word, but I stayed silent. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally cared about myself more. For so long, I had been the one chasing, the one trying, the one holding everything together. But now I was done. I put my phone down, looked out at the endless ocean, and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Her messages kept coming, but the tone had changed. The confidence was gone. Now there was panic, regret, and confusion. I made a mistake. Please come back. We can fix this. I read those words carefully, but they didn't affect me the way they once would have, because I had already seen the truth. She didn't choose me when it mattered. She chose me when she realized I was gone. And that's not love, that's convenience. I closed the messages, locked my phone, and placed it aside. Some doors, once closed, are meant to stay that way. Sitting by the ocean one evening, watching the sun slowly disappear into the horizon, I finally understood everything. Love isn't about proving your worth to someone. It's not about begging to be chosen. Real love is simple. It chooses you, every single time, without hesitation. And if someone can walk away from you so easily, then you should let them. Not out of anger, but out of respect for yourself. That was the lesson I had been avoiding for so long. But now, I had learned it. And it changed everything. I never went back. Not to her. Not to the life I had left behind. When I returned, I started fresh. New place, new mindset, new boundaries. She tried reaching out again, but I didn't respond. Because some endings are necessary. Some goodbyes are permanent. And sometimes, losing someone isn't a tragedy, it's a turning point. I didn't lose her. I found myself. And that was worth more than anything I had ever tried to hold on to.